Oh, hello. It's been a while since we've read these books, but we're kind of doing the two book at a time thing with Animorphs here.
Yep. So, hello, all. And for those who may not remember, the first book was establishing the Yeerk invasion, giving the kids their powers. And then the second book was the infiltration into Chapman's house.
Oh yeah, with Fluffer McKitty.
The ultimate badass in cattery.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so we got a couple interesting books coming up. Uh, I think I said this before, is that they go in sequential order. The first book was Jake, the team leader. Second book was Rachel, who's
Rachel. Yeah,
she's the toughest of the Animorphs, who's the most blunt, the most straightforward. The third is Tobias, the kid trapped in a hawk morph.
the emo hawk.
That's how we called him.
Yes, and that's the first book we're going to talk about right here.
Yeah. Basically, this book is just dealing with Tobias in his time as a hawk, how he has to adapt to his new life.
Yeah, Tobias is just struggling with it, because he's been trapped in the hawk body for so long now, that the hawk instincts are just trying to take over, and it's just like that battle between,
Man and beast.
yeah, man and beast, humanity and your animal instincts. It's
There-
deep stuff.
Yeah, there's a powerful line near the start of the book where he says he tries to describe himself, what he looked like when he was a human, and he realizes he's slowly forgetting details. And it's just how it happens over time. Jake is still feeding him like food in his cupboard. He's giving him Rubbermaid dishes full of meats and potatoes and whatever.
Yeah, he comes like to the attic or whatever.
Yeah, but because the instincts for the hawk is to hunt and to kill. But that's not the only plot that we have to deal with. The second involves this kind of phenomenon that Tobias is seeing in the sky. It's heading towards the mountains and it's invisible and it took out this geese formation.
Oh, sorry, the phone was ringing. I had to turn off my microphone. So continue.
Yeah, it um
Anyways,
yeah, the secondary plot involves dealing with this invisible Yeerk ship that's doing something in the mountains.
they were like getting water. I don't remember the reason, but they're sucking water out of a lake.
It's a supply ship because of the fact that they don't create their own air and food like on Star Trek. They need the planet that they're conquering to supply them.
Hmm.
So this is the first major victory for the Animorphs because they're gonna get a plan to go up into the ship using fish morphs and to sabotage it from the inside.
And I'll just say that plan goes real bad. It just
Yeah, they
utterly falls apart.
because they can't get into the ship, they're stuck in the water hold. So that Tobias is convinced he has to destroy the ship, do as much damage as he can, and it breaks them open at the end, and they're falling through the skies and with the water gushing out, and they morph into birds just barely at the end. So they take out the Yerk supply ship. That's huge win.
Yeah, so it wasn't all a failure.
One detail to bring up is in this book, Tobias tries to kill himself. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it's after he's made his first kill, he swooped down on it, and the hawk instincts were satiated.
Another thing is like there was another hawk of the same species, a red-tailed hawk,
Yeah,
which is what he
Price
was
cut
trapped in the
Polly.
morph of. Yeah, Price cut Polly, and there was this guy who was using her for a television commercial, and he's just like, "Hey, she shouldn't be trapped in a cage like that. She should be free." And he freed her, and he sees her throughout the book, and part of him is like, "I feel the need to be with her and mate with her."
Yeah, it's funny,
It's
but
kind of deep stuff.
yeah, the dude was dealing Dan Hawk, and um, well, the fandom may have a different feel on him than I do due to a certain YouTuber, but yeah, Price Cut Polly appears throughout the book.
And it was kind of sad what happens to her later on.
Because when the truck ship blew up and the animals were flying under the trees and the bird morphs, the Yerk Armada that's in the sky.
They started shooting like at anything that moves, like
Yep,
especially
and
birds.
they get her. She's blasted down at the end.
Well, that was really sad. It's
Yeah,
like he went through all that work to save her, only for her to die.
What's notable is that her death has an impact on Tobias, and that he realizes humans experience sadness when animals die, uh, but that he's something more than human. He's not quite human. He's not quite Hawk. He's something in between. That's big for Tobias's character growth to come later on.
So he's basically Hawk from Buck Rogers.
Yeah, that would probably be an apt description. Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about.
Yeah, if you haven't ever seen the Buck Rogers series from the '70s, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
But
there it is.
Hawk was one of the best things about the second season.
Oh, I think that's Avery Brooks, isn't it? Or not?
Oh no, he wasn't played by Avery Brooks. Who was he played by?
I don't know.
Hawk, Buck Rogers.
Yeah. I don't know but there's the second book is going to be The Message. The third was The Encounter, I think. The fourth is The Message, and it deals with Cassie's point of view. Cassie is this kind of green earth tree hugger, if you'll remember.
Yeah, and she's somewhat tomboyish.
Yeah, she's not really. She's just a well-written, realistic person. She has a farm that they acquire morphs on.
Yeah, and she's not afraid to get dirty.
In this book, they're having she and Tobias are having visions of the sea, and that there's something to do with the Andalites there. The last Andalite they saw was Prince Alfangor.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the first book.
Yep.
Because he was the one that gave them the morphs in the first place.
Yeah, with the morphing cube. And it's not just them. Visor 3's getting these messages too. In the last book, Visor 3 was there, but he was in his blade ship, his personal warship. He wasn't in person with them. In this book, he is. He's having the same visions.
Yes, and so, they're working to find out, is this real or not? They become dolphins.
A big retro bit I liked was when Jake goes to get his VHS tapes of the evening news that he recorded. They don't have VHS tapes anymore, but that's a nice bit of detail. One thing I like about this book is that they go to investigate at the beach, and then the controllers are there too. They're taking shots at them, but some of the humans wonder, because these kids got away from them real quick because they went to the water and morphed, is if that they may not be Andalite bandits. Because remember, Visitor 3 thinks these are Andalites that are trapped on the planet.
Because he's never seen them as humans. He's only seen them as animals.
Yeah, in the morphs. And since only Andalites have that power, he assumes it's them. But the detail is that the humans speculate, could these be humans instead of Andalites? And someone says, humans? Maybe. But I'm not going to be the fool that tries to tell Visitor 3 that. Because he'd probably behead them for suggesting it. Visitor 3 is like Darth Vader on steroids. He kills off his subordinates. Remember that taxon that he killed so that the others could feed on him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this really kind of falls on Cassie to make the decision on where they go next, because Tobias isn't going to be much good when it comes to the water. And she kind of muddles through it and says, yeah, we should do it. But the next part is that they morph dolphins.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they're like super playful in the sea.
And, they almost... they almost forget their...
mission.
Yeah, because they're having so much fun, and they save a giant whale.
And from a shark attack. And the whale communicates in whale song where it knows that this andalite in the sea is. They're, as they watch the VHS tape with the evening report and see the lettering on it, the andalite writing, the visions get stronger and they can hear a voice. So they know where the whale is and they decide to head out there and they find an andalite.
Yep.
A
He has a
fang
really long name, so they just call him Axe.
Aximile escaruth isthel. That's why they call them Axe. It's for those who may not remember, andalites are four-legged quadrupeds that look like centaurs. I'm sure you can pull up an image at this point to do it. But yeah, Axe. What do you think of Axe?
I love how he's very curious about humanity, and he's kind of like innocent and naive, kind of.
Yeah, like there's a running chase once they get out. What's in the ocean is the top portion of Andalite dome ship. I'm sure you could show a picture of that at this point. There, and then the top portion can detach from the lower half. It did it for maneuverability in battle, but when the lower portion got blown up, it fell into the ocean. So they have to perfect a running escape away from Visitor 3, who's morphed in this giant Margaret creature.
Oh yeah, it's this big. You know what it reminds me of?
A purple trash bag.
There was these water creatures from the Star Wars Jedi Knight games. They're called Drugans, I think.
Yeah.
You encounter them in some water levels. They're like these red lumps, but the Mardrut in the book is kind of weirder because it has these giant jets that pump water, and that's how it propels itself, and it goes like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's like a whoomp, whoomp, whoomp sound, kind of like it looks like a purple trash bag, though, to me. It just does. Yeah, but they managed to get Axe to shore because while they're running from Visitor 3, Cassie calls out a distress call to these whales and they come to save the day.
And they wreck him and he has to run.
What's notable with this book is that you begin to see she questions the morality of everything that they're going to do. And I think that's important to have that voice. But as with all things, you can take something too far. It's just...
Yeah, because she was wondering, is it okay to like take the form of these animals?
Yeah.
You need to ask for permission, and by the end of the book, she comes to terms with that.
Because this is something so new that the morality of it hasn't really been written yet. It's just something we haven't dealt with. Yeah. But what we learn here is something important that Axe tells them while they're still at the bottom of the ship is that the Yeerks don't just enslave people's minds and use them as puppets for their senses, arms, legs, sight, and whatever. They strip mine entire planets.
Yep, then leave it a wasteland, and then they just leave a little bit of population so they can still do their stuff.
They leave animals behind for sustenance, and that's it. This is something you're going to see later in the series. Visitor 3 hinted at it in the first book, but it's what makes us such great targets for the Yeerks is our extreme high population. We have billions. The Yeerks call us a class 5 species because the Hork-Bajir taxons, they exist in very small numbers, or that they're undesirable hosts like the taxon's hunger. But the Hork-Bajir are perfect hosts, but there's very few of them left because... well, you'll see eventually.
It reminds me of so much when of course, I only know this from word of mouth from SG1 since I haven't seen the Stargate movie yet, but Ra comes to Earth and the Goa'uld are almost extinct, and then using the humans as hosts, basically saves them.
Yeah, I mean that's what they mentioned in the pilot. The Yeerks are doing it for completely different reasons. You mind if I reveal it just a little?
Sure.
Yeerks in their natural state have great intellectual capabilities there, but they're only fulfilling a fraction of their potential because they're blind, deaf, mute, helpless in a little pool, just soaking up Kandrona rays. And because they're just not living up to their potential. They need to take hosts in order to see, to hear, to think, and to be able to manipulate their environment. There's a perfectly logical reason for why they do that, because they feel insensitive that we can't. We feel insensitive that they can't. So it's not like the Goa'uld. It's a bit more complicated than that, because they want to be able to see and hear and think and feel the way we do.
And that makes them kind of interesting.
Yeah, and you're going to see more of this as time goes on. Cassie especially has the most contact with their point of view that way, given her empathy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
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 I love how Cassie's just like the best at morphing.
yeah, and a stream is what the Andalites would call it, while Tobias is a Nothlit, trapped in morph. And the next book is going to feature Marco.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you which character was next. Oh, but there's a really funny part I wanted to mention
Go ahead.
towards the end when they escape from Visser 3.
Yeah.
And they go back up to the river. I love it when Axe literally like takes bits of their DNA and by touching them, and he creates his own human form.
He looks like a bit of all of them, but it's male because he's decided to be male since he is. We learned from the Elfangor book that's called a flawless maneuver or a flawless maneuver. I like how they have that little name for what these Andalites do.
Yeah.
And Axe is just tumbling over his words. Tumbling over the words. He's playing with his words. The most infamous word he's known for is cinnamon bunza. Wait till you see him start to eat food and have taste.
Oh yes, he's gonna be so.
Yeah. Something that the Popperine reviewed in his reviews is a lot of things that happen in these books is opening book shenanigans. And let me tell you, there's a lot of those. Remember Rachel, where the last book, Tobias, where he freed Price Cut Polly on a live TV.
Yeah.
In Popperina's reviews, he turned that Dealing Dan Hawk who only appeared in one book and was a minor role, into something that's legendary and epic as he seeks revenge on the elephant that ruined his car lot. Yes, it's funny. I'm Dealing Dan Hawk, and I have a very specific way of talking. That's how he voices Dealing Dan Hawk. It's funny. It's really funny.
I love that.
Finally, with this vision atomizer, I can go back in time and take care of that fucking elephant. That's funny. Yeah, so if I'm trying to think of something that we can take away from these first 4 books, it's that they're kind of mostly set up. They had a victory with taking out the truck ship. They spied on Chapman's house and learned a little bit. And
they're still doing these little missions.
And they recovered Elfangor's brother Axe, which is good because he's their expert on alien stuff, even though he's just a kid like them. So that's in the book that
he's basically going to be the Teal'c of the Animorph books.
Yeah, except he's just a kid, just like them. It's funny seeing because they say on the Analite homeworld that they zone out during their school lessons too. That's funny. So at this point, Axe is going to go to the woods around Cassie's farmland, and yeah, so he's at least going to have a home there. And Tobias hangs out in the woods too because he's a hawk. So those two are going to strike up a friendship.
I could imagine that they'll be together a lot. He's like, now he won't have to just be flying out alone. He can spend time with Axe.
You know what the next book is? I should give you a little bit of the plot, but not enough to be spoilers. What do you think?
Yeah, you can tell me a little bit.
Visser 1 is going to pay a visit to Earth. That's one of the plots. The second is that they're trying to help Axe get back home so that he can inform his people that there's a bit more urgency in the Yeerk invasion of Earth.
Ooh.
That makes sense, I'd imagine. And of course, there's opening book shenanigans. Wait till you see what Marco's going to do.
Bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah. And it goes, and it bears repeating. This is a diverse cast, so it's not like we hate diversity just for diversity's sake or that we want it just for its sake. These are well-written characters that are real.
Yeah.
It's not like they're totally absent of any racial characteristics, but like with Cisco uh, is also with his racial characteristics is the same as being a chef, a father, a widower, a seasoned commander, and a family man. That matters when it matters. It's a
Dude,
characteristic.
Cisco's so cool.
Yes, he is. It's when they create characters, not ciphers. That's what they create today. Ciphers for. That's why some people think they're ciphers for political vehicles, which are at times. Also, they're just ciphers for a very shallow plot.
You know what? You know what line comes to mind when I hear the word cipher?
Yeah.
You're a cipher, forming bonds,
Yeah.
leeching the life of others.
Yeah. I think personally,
Remember that from KOTOR 2?
I remember it definitely.
Siphoning their will and dominating them.
With Master Rook, yes. I think more of Cypher from Pokemon Coliseum. Yeah. So the Animorphs really haven't done much at this stage in the series, but it's going to keep picking up as they do more and more and more.
Yeah, lots of minor victories, lots of character development. We're gonna have to get to know them.
Yeah, and especially it's like Stargate. It took them 8 years, but these guys, these teams, these seasoned professionals brought down an empire. The Animorphs are going to do the same thing.
And I kind of love those similarities.
Yeah, definitely. Though I'm going to give it to Animorphs because I don't think Stargate explored the motivations of the Goa'uld as much as they could have, because the Yeerks just want what we have, and the only way they can do that is with a wrong. But while the Goa'uld, the idea that they were a dying species never really mattered much after the pilot. They just do it for the evils.
Yep. And, because like Apophis was kind of just like, even though I did like him, he was just more like, I'm evil, bow to me, worship me. But then we get like Anubis and like Baal, who are just so much more powerful and menacing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're going to see that fleshed out as the series goes on and we adopt more shades of gray. There's more epicness to come, definitely. So, any final thoughts on the series, the characters, or the book so far?
No, I'm looking forward to what comes.
Okay, I was thinking we could do a series where you rate each of these books and give them a 1 out of 10 kind of deal. So, would you rate the third one and the fourth one?
Let's see, I'd probably. Which one did I like more?
Tobias or Cassie?
Let's see, I do absolutely love Cassie. I probably like the stuff with Tobias a little bit more.
Yeah, because he's
Because, dealt with those themes of just like being trapped.
Yeah, he's got a mystique to him. So, what would you rate that one?
I'll probably give that one like an 8 out of 10.
Okay, and the message?
Oh, wait, what?
The message, that's the fourth book. That's the Cassie one.
Oh, that's what it's called. Okay.
Maybe a 7 or
yeah. That's about right.
Okay, we have gone through this. If you have any final thoughts?
Oh, I can't wait to start the next one.
Okay, that seems like it.
All right. So, hope you enjoyed our short little discussion of Animorphs, and see you whenever we do another video. Whether it's Animorphs or Star Wars or whatever. Probably the next major video we'll be doing is probably Stargate.
Yeah, when we're going to have a big epic 4-way panel podcast between Matt Wilkins, me, Iron Inquisitor, and Todd from the Scoundrels Cantina.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's going to be lit.
All right, so see you whenever we get around to that.